Anne is a fantastic storyteller. She has won Liars Contest. She tells folklore. She tells all kinds of wonderful things, and now she's going to tell to you. Please welcome back to the stage, Anne Rutherford.
Thank you all. I am just having such a grand time being here with you all. The vibe is marvelous. The sun is marvelous. We're going to bring some of that sunshine energy in with us today. I've listened to a meditation thing that I do every day today, and they had the most interesting thing on it. It was this thing about the conundrum of Theseus's, the mythological hero, Theseus's boat. And evidently there's this thing, now I just heard about this in 2 minutes, so I'm not an expert, but there's this thing about Theseus's wooden boat that to keep it in good repair, every year they would replace one plank of the boat. So the conundrum is, when does it become a different boat? Or is it the same boat? And as I go through the years of being a storyteller, when I come back to stories that I love that I haven't told in a while, when new stories come through me but they feel like old stories that I've had for a long time, I love for all of us that as we get older, we still have the part of ourselves that is new, and yet we're also different. It's just a wonderful thing to contemplate. So I invite you into that boat with me. And the first story I'd like to tell, some of you have met this character before if you were with us yesterday. I found this jacket in a thrift shop years ago and I really wanted to buy it. So I justified the purchase by saying, well, if I come up with a character who tells stories and would fit this jacket, I'll buy it. I did. Put the jacket on, opened my mouth, character named Clementine Ryder, started telling stories. There she is. There she is. Yes, she has her fan base, and I'm one of them. So I'm going to let her speak for herself because she is more than capable of doing so. The one thing you know about Clementine, if you've ever met her, is she loves applause. So folks, please welcome Clementine Ryder. Thank you all so much. It is indeed a pleasure to be with you in this beautiful part of the country in this beautiful day. Now, I often go into the schoolroom with Miss Anne, and after I have held forth a bit, modeling for young scholars in the oracular arts, they have questions for me. And a question they often ask me is, Miss Clementine, what were you like as a child? So I realized that it might benefit them, or they wanted to anyway, hear something about my childhood. So this is a story that I like to tell. When I woke up the morning of my 12th birthday, I was elated to have finally attained a dozen years in age, but also with a heavy heart. For my mother had died of pneumonia the winter before, and this would be my first birthday without her. So I had a moment, and then I turned my head, and on the chair beside my bed, I saw a flash of turquoise. I looked closer. It was a Western riding shirt in the most beautiful turquoise fabric with mother-of-pearl buttons, and it looked like just my size. So I got up, I did my ablutions, I attired myself in that beautiful turquoise shirt, and I walked into the kitchen where my papa was already at the stove. He turned around and said, "Happy birthday, Clementine! Your mama found that shirt at the rodeo last summer, and she knew it would suit you, and so it does." "Papa," I said, "you can't cook flapjacks." Because there he was at the stove, flipping them away, but Mama had always been the one to cook them up for us special. "Well, I beg to differ," he said. "I've been taking lessons from Miss Naomi at the trading post, and she is a stern taskmistress. Let me tell you, I've had to eat all my mistakes." "Oh, they're just about ready. All right, Clementine, unless you and I dine together." But my eye had already been caught by the presence of a brown paper-wrapped parcel at my seat at the table. "Is that for me?" "Well, you'll have to check it out," my father said. I looked. It was addressed in beautiful flowing handwriting to Ms. Clementine Ryder at our ranch in New Mexico. The return address was Robert Valentine, San Francisco. Yep, my papa said, "Old One-Eyed Bob sent you a present, Clementine." Oh, I hefted the box. There was a clanking sound inside. Papa? Could it be? Could it be a silver spur and bridle set? For I dearly wanted my own spur and bridle set. Could be, Papa said. Knowing Bob, could be a stirrup set, could be a model train, could be a silver tea service. I suggest you and I fortify ourselves with these before you open it up. And he plonked down a platter of steaming flapjacks on the table. Well, we plated it up and I tucked in, but my mind was still on that package. Well, it could be stirrups and a bridle, Papa, because Bob knows I ride. Well, he certainly does. He knows you were taught by the best, your mama, because he was there. He was there when you and Mama first met. He was indeed. Tell me the story. Oh, Clementine, you've heard that 100 times. Tell me again. All right. Well, old One-Eyed Bob and I were on a business trip. Went through Chicago the day that Spalding's Great North American Circus was in town, and a business acquaintance of Bob gave us some tickets. So there he and I were seated right in one of the front rows when the ringmaster stepped out into the stage, blew his whistle, and through the curtains came an Appaloosa horse, powerful steed with a compact little woman standing barefoot on its back. They charged straight toward us. That woman flipped up into the air, landed back on the horse, leant her head back, and gave a yell. You remember your mama's signature yell, don't you, Clementine? My mama was a trick acrobat rider in the circus. Her stage name was Susquehanna Sue, and her yell could be heard across 3 counties. Then just when I thought she was going to charge right up into the stands, somehow she managed to turn that steed. Mama squinched her toes and swiveled her nose. That's all when she always told me to do it. Well, she did it to great effect. And there she was, riding around that ring with her hair streaming back, whooping that yell. I turned to Bob. I said, "That's the woman I'm going to marry." Bob said, "Fortune favors the brave, Theodore." So after the show, I waited at the stage door. And when your mama stepped through, I said, "Miss Susquehanna Sue, my name is Theodore Ryder, and it would be my great pleasure if you would dine with me tonight." And Mama said no. That is an understatement. Your mama gave me a look that would freeze the San Juan River. Then she said, "My true name, Mr. Ryder, is Susanna. It's what my friends call me. And you, sir, are no friend of mine." Then she swept into a horse and cab and was carried away. I was despondent, but Bob applauded. He said it was the most magnificent exit he had ever seen. And though I was downhearted, he encouraged me. Theodore, fortune favors the brave." So the next night, I was there at the stage door with a bouquet of roses. The next night, with chocolate. It always met with the same reception. And finally, Bob said to me, "Theodore, it's the closing night of the circus," and I knew the whole company was booked on the midnight train to Boston. "Theodore, if music be the food of love, play on." So that night, when your mama stepped through the stage door, there was Bob with his banjo, and as she looked at me, I dropped to my knees and I sang, "Oh, Susanna, oh, won't you dine with me? For I'm out here in the alley down upon my bended knee. And if you will not dine with me, then I will surely die. And when I'm buried in my grave, there'll be no more chance for pie." "Oh, Susanna, oh, won't you dine with me? For I'm out here in the alley down upon my bended knee." And Mama laughed. Well, she tried not to. First it looked like she'd swallowed a pickle whole, But then she couldn't help it. She threw back her head. She laughed. Do you remember your mama's laugh, Clementine? It was as loud as her signature yell. For a compact little woman, she packed quite a vocal punch. And then you took her to dinner. She said, "Mr. Ryder, if you can guarantee I will make the midnight train to Boston, I will dine with you tonight." But you missed it. Well, we got distracted. Over dinner, she told me her dream was to quit the circus and train horses, and I told her mine was to find some land up here and have a ranch, and you asked her to marry you, and you gave her Bob's cigar brand as an engagement ring. Well, I did indeed, and just as Bob was popping the cork on the champagne to celebrate, we heard the toll of the clock tolling midnight. She'd missed the train, so I hired a horse and four, and I cab and four, and I drove her up to Boston myself. Well, rather, Bob drove. Your mother and I rode together in the carriage and furthered our acquaintance. Then she finished out the season, quit the circus, we got married, came up here, found the ranch, you came along, and then we both turned to Mama's place at the table, which of course was empty. But my heart felt full, as if talking about her had brought her right back there with us. And I thought my papa felt the same way, because he said, "Land, Clementine, I can just hear your mama's voice right now. Do you know what she is saying?" "No, Papa, what?" "She's saying, 'For heaven's sakes, Teddy, let the girl open her present.'" My present! I'd totally forgotten, but then I tore off the brown paper, and Papa helped me pry up the wooden lid on the little crate, and there was straw, and then I pulled out, "Papa, is it a model train?" Because it was a flat piece of metal with two wheels at either end. The top one's kind of turned. "Heavens," Papa said. "Clementine, old one-eyed Bob has sent you a pair of those newfangled roller skates." Well, there was a letter addressed to both of us, and indeed, an acquaintance of Bob, a Mr. Plimpton, had just patented this model of roller skate. It was revolutionary because the first two wheels, they pivoted, so it gave the skater greater control. Well, I was keen to try this, so right after we finished up the flapjacks and cleaned up, went outside. Our yard was rocky and rough, but our front porch was just boards laid down one after another. So Papa helped me get the skates attached over my shoes, then he set me up on one end of the porch, having cleared all the furniture away, and gave me a little push, and "Go, Clementine! Whoa, Clementine! Slow, Clementine! Oh, Clementine! No, Clementine!" I shot off that board porch through a bunch of very surprised chickens and landed right on my rumpus. Fortunately, the only thing really bruised was my dignity, so Papa helped me up, and then he went in the house and he got a bed sheet, came out and tied it off at the end of the porch so I'd have something to cabin into. And I skated that porch over and over and over again, till finally Papa hailed me from the horse. He was alongside me. He said, "Clementine, I'm going to go up to the far pasture, bring down some stock. You had better take a break." So I did, for about 5 minutes. Then I was back at it, because I had figured out that if I got the wheels going before I touched down, I would take off with even increased velocity. So I was up there, I had one arm on the divan and the other arm on the windowsill, and I got both wheels going, and I touched down, and I took off like a firecracker, boom, down the porch, right through the sheet, took it with me through the chickens, and shedding chicken feathers and trying to whale my way out of that sheet, I went right through the open gate of the corral. And when my wheels hit that smooth packed earth, I picked up speed, and I was heading straight toward the big post with the iron hook that was right at cranium level. But just before I made contact, I heard my mama's voice, "Clementine, squinch your nose and swivel your toes." So I did, and then I was skating around that corral. I threw my head back. I gave my own version of my mother's signature yell, and I heard, "Huzzah!" Was my papa there on the horse with another couple of horses beside him, and they were all watching me go around and around and around, including a little Palomino filly that turned out to be my birthday present. And as my papa watched, he took off his hat and he said, "Clementine Ryder, you do favor your mother." And I do, because my name is Clementine Ryder, and I am the daughter of Susquehanna Sue.